Hopefully.
First time messing up though for Alex. So first time for
Yeah, it's
everything.
good.
It's the first time in life I've ever messed up, guys.
Yeah. Well, if you look at how many shows we've done, it's pretty damn good.
It's probably not the first time I messed up, but I guess I fat fingered the schedule here. Huh.
I figured you guys did a background check or something and just canceled. When I saw it this morning, I got a little nervous.
No.
I was like,
Background
uh-oh.
check.
Yeah, they were like, this guy is gonna sell us a Ponzi scheme or something.
Nope.
Yeah, we'll just have to switch the YouTube one out, Jeff, on the forums.
Yeah. I'll do that after. That's easy enough.
All right.
Actually, all I have to do is bury the new URL.
Yeah, that's it. Just change that.
Yep.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Mm.
Alex, did Alex tell you he's like you probably know that from the forums, the new owner of a Nissan EV?
No, I did not see that. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
being serious or not.
I am being
Technically, I'm not an owner. It's a leased vehicle,
Oh,
well.
and a one pay lease at that.
Hell of a deal.
Yeah, it's for any dealers out there, anybody thinking creatively about these EV rebates. The local or the Vermont electric companies are offering rebates on EVs. And so you pair all the stuff the manufacturer is doing with some of the outside energy efficiency and power company stuff that might be available, and you can get this Nissan was like a $51,000 vehicle. Was I don't know, was it $270 a month all said and done? It's
Yeah.
crazy.
oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's insane.
yeah. I mean that's with all title, taxes, tags, everything.
Damn.
wow.
Yeah, right.
It's like
Does that
literally
come?
giving those things away.
Yeah.
Is that a
All
home
right, here
charger? You have to.
here we go. All right. Well, before you got cut off by the noise, what were you asking there, Alex?
Oh, yeah. I was asking if it was they give you a home charger, or how does that work?
Oh yeah,
You
so
have to install
well,
yourself.
the car comes with um, a level 1 and a level 2 cord. So it's really one cord. You can plug a little level 1 thing on there, um, and then my power company gives us a level 2 charger. But nice thing, I turned my garage into a wood shop years ago, so I've got 240 volts all over the place because you know the table saws and band saws and all sorts of
Hmm.
things like the higher power. And so I'm just going to take one of them and convert it to the EV plug size and be done with it.
You said there's a rebate through the power companies. Is that every state or just select states are doing that?
So it's not. It's every power company may have a different type of incentive. So like, there's three major power companies here. There's Burlington Electric, there's the Vermont Co-op, and Green Mountain Power. I think Green Mountain Power has a $2,200 rebate.
Oh
Ooh.
wow.
Yeah. So like there's like I don't know what the rebate amounts were. I wasn't really paying that much attention to the contract so much. I was like, just sign this. Let's get the hell out of here. This is
It's too good to be true.
Yeah.
well, no, I mean even the dealer, like he knew, we're in the business and we're just shooting the shit, just like talking stuff. I'm like, is there anything funky at the end of this lease? No, it's standard lease. All right, fine, sign, boom, done. But I didn't pay much attention to how much the rebates were because I think the final sale price was like 30 grand. So it was a
Wow.
$51,000 sticker, $30,000 sale price, basically. So the rebates were insane.
And you said what, 270?
Roughly. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it came out to. So part
Hmm.
of it too, there was some savings on some way that this was structured on doing a one pay lease. It was something like if your Nissan and NEMAC does something with, you have to be in a certain amount of the residual or whatever for it to be payments to be allowed or whatever it is, or you have to do a one pay kind of thing. So anyway,
Yeah, our local company is Potomac Edison, and residential customers or can qualify for a whopping $300 rebate with the purchase of an EV and installation of a level 2 EV charging station.
that's so. By the way, your level two charging station, typically you have to buy that for anywhere from $400 to $600, and then you have
Oh, really?
yeah, and then if you're not an electrician installing it, which they're not hard to
Yeah.
do, but
You guys
anyway,
think someone's gonna pick up Fisker? I think I saw it today. There was like
Yeah, I
four
saw they're in
potential
dire straits,
OEMs.
aren't
hmm.
they? Yeah, I saw that. I don't know. What do you think?
I hope so. I mean, I found myself a few times creating a, what is it, an ocean, and I just
Hmm.
can't justify buying it because, you know, a year from now, who knows if I'll be able to update it. But given I live in Florida, so it's like accessibility
Yeah,
wise, my '05 Wrangler died a couple of months ago, so I'm just riding out in an old Cherokee right now until I find something a little more appealing to
nice.
drive.
I
Well,
haven't seen a new Fisker.
well, they've done some cool stuff
Hmm.
design
Yeah,
wise.
don't look up any of the reviews though. That's where it gets
Yeah.
All right,
a little concerning.
but Alex, there's I think there's still a pretty good lease on the Wrangler right now, so you might want to check those out.
Let's
And
go.
one of the things you got to be careful of, like when you just talk to the dealer, not all dealers are paying attention to the non-captive lenders. So you might want to look at Ally or U.S. Bank leases on the Wrangler.
Mhm.
They can be what typically happens is in this case you get a rate from Jeep at the beginning of the month, get your money factor, your residual in that set, and that's typically what the sales managers look at and stick to that, and that's all the payments and everything that are quoted for the rest of the month. But Ally and US Bank wait for that to happen. Then they come back and drop a lower rate, maybe a higher residual, and those two compete against each other for the next couple of days into the month. And what ends up happening is uh, the lease special from those two can get insane. And Jeff's you can speak to that. You're driving one of those.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got to turn it in next month. But yeah, I had it for 3 years, 12,000 miles a year, and I rolled tax and tags into it. It was 360 a month. It was a Toyota top of the line Tacoma. Yep, sweet deal.
Yeah.
Can't beat
Yeah,
that.
they're out there. No, my goodness, no. Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, well, you didn't come on here to talk about EVs and how to find good lease payments, did
I don't know. Might be more lucrative.
you? Well, I don't know. Maybe you can sell some dealers on getting
Yeah.
on Targit.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
is
Well,
this? What is data driven automotive dealership? What is this Target guide? I think you did you get that
yeah. Well,
released yet?
I haven't really had signed off by the powers that be, so we'll stay away from that. But I can give a
Gotcha.
kind of a lowdown as what we do, and I can even walk through kind of our target solution as a whole. But at the core, we're a BI company. I was telling Alex we operate in a handful of, I guess, what I would call like near endemic dealer models. So truck and trailer, heavy equipment. So when there's an OEM and a retail dealer. And in turn, what we do is we consolidate data sources. So DMS, CRM, accounting, HR, really any data source that you'd want, we're able to kind of consolidate it into one single source of truth. So I've kind of done my time on the vendor side, and I grew up around automotive. I mean, my grandpa had some auto auctions, and then my dad worked on the wholesale side for Lithia for a while, or I guess Suburban and now Lithia, which is why I didn't get into retail. Want to see my kids grow up. No, I'm kidding, Dad, if you're listening. So yeah, I obviously stayed on the vendor side, and with it, I saw there's so many different, I guess you call them bolt-on solutions. Whether you look at digital retailing tools or tools baked into your DMS or your CRM, and with it, what does it result in? It's another login where you have to see your reporting, you have to trust vendor reporting, and essentially their time sucks. Everyone's going to say, yes, this is going to help you sell more cars, and maybe it will, but at the end of the day, then you have to track down all of this data. So what we do is we harness all of that data, we ingest it into our system. In turn, we then house it all in a business warehouse, are able to cube it up based off of specific departments. So whether you want to look at sales, fixed, accounting, everything's able to splice out that way. I guess I would say from like a tool perspective, though, it's similar to Power BI or Tableau in a sense where, yes, we have all of these automotive specific, what you could call accelerators baked into our automotive offering. But once everything's in there, you're able to kind of make whatever you want. So if you have specific data points that you want to analyze, so you want to look at lead source matched up to sales rep to close rate, based, whatever, you can come up with your own really data point that you want to focus on. And given we have it all housed there, we're able to create reporting that way. So more or less what we're looking to do is kind of remove the silos and consolidate into one place. So everyone has a single source of truth compared to, shooting from the hip or trusting your gut.
Yeah. How are you able to get all that data?
So with it, I guess I should have also prefaced, we operate in the European market at the moment. We work with, I think, 7 of the top 10 dealer groups over there, as well as 300 or so other dealers. Over there, we have 15 plus DMS integrations. I mean, some dealers have 8, 9 different DMSs, and we're able to ingest it all that way. Here in the States, we are going through our Fortellis certification at the moment. So we have, fingers crossed, a couple more weeks until we're good to go there. But after that, if something has an API, we're able to plug in and obviously ingest the data that way. Okay. Obviously, we went, instead of going the CDK data my way route, we figured Fortellis would probably be a easier long-term solution.
You would have discovered real fast that they would have switched you over to Fortellis anyway. So
yeah, is that from experience?
Yes, they force everyone over there.
Got it. Yeah, we were going through some.
The other way was better, so hopefully they get Fortellis a little more robust.
Yeah, because we had a couple dealers here in the States that wanted to do proof of concepts, and Fortellis kind of said you have to wait until we're good to go, and obviously we could export the data anyways, but it is what it is. Good things are worth the wait.
Well, let me throw something at you. There's been all this splash in our part of the retail industry about CDPs, customer data platforms, and they're really just sort of looking at the marketing side of the world. And BI, and you mentioned Tableau and some of the other ones that dealers probably aren't familiar with. I think the vendors are, because we use them for our own businesses, but those haven't been really usable by dealerships on the whole. I think there's some really sharp operators and people out there who might be implementing something along those lines. But the last time we had a real BI solution in our industry was driven data. And the thing that I like about BI over the customer data platform is the CDP, because it's marketing based, is really, at least a lot of the ways that it's been done, is it's still like throwing shit against the window to see what sticks, because it's marketing. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
what's going to emotionally drive someone to take action, and it's not really, this is specific, this works perfectly. They just haven't gotten that far yet. Maybe it's still early, but the BI, on the other hand, can look at operations. And when you start to look at uh, salespeople, service writers, all these different people in your business, because let's face it, your business is still a people-driven business. Um, so when you look at those people and start to measure their outcomes, you can start to make some real decisions. And that's why I like BI over a CDP. And I don't know if this is something you guys have come up against just being in Europe thus far, but in the United States, the customer data platform is a big thing over here right now.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually at
And by the way, you're
digital.
here. We should probably let everyone know. Like you're
Oh,
you're
oh yeah.
full-blooded
I'm in
American. Yeah.
Tampa, Florida. American Patriot. Don't worry. Um, but yeah, I was at Digital Airstrike prior to this, so CDP, very familiar with that. From a BI perspective, the calls I've been on with dealers, what they see the biggest value out of so far, similar to what you just said, Alex. Looking at productivity, efficiency, whatever it may be, and the fixed ops department, where you're able to drill down on clocking of yesterday, seeing what people were actually doing, what ROs they worked on, how many hours clocked, how many hours present, how many hours billed. Being able to do all that, it turns into not just having the data, but being able to act on the data. So is it something where additional training is needed? Is it something where, maybe, Susie and the service department's being dragged into something else? It allows you to identify areas to increase efficiency and then in turn profitability. So I would say that's been the most accepted kind of data point thus far. And also to your point, it's not marketing focused. You can make it marketing focused in a sense where you can pull in additional data sets if you really want and create audiences that way. But it is at its core more of an operations focused tool.
What was Ryan saying?
Oh, Ryan was asking, or he was saying, let me throw it up here. Before Driven Data was sold, then they pivot away from BI towards a marketing side, and
Gotcha.
the answer is yes. Part of it, I think, had this conversation with John when they were doing that. Was he was looking at the data, and it pointed him towards helping dealers with their marketing, because that was where the ball was being dropped the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
But what they sold for was not the marketing end of their solution. I think it was more sold for the BI tools. Poly Insurance bought them, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, it was interesting. A couple of weeks ago, and for Level Up, because we were just kind of chatting back and forth on that, and if I recall correctly, he was saying he felt the offering at the time may have been a bit premature for the automotive vertical, whereas at least what we see in EMEA and based on conversations I've had thus far here in the States, it's become a bit more receptive given, one, the consolidation of dealers. Obviously, from a large group perspective, it's, for example, I'm here in Tampa, and it's almost like every other week, Morgan Auto Group is buying another rooftop or just a whole group altogether. So with it, obviously, consolidation of dealers, which then results in additional data sources. So maybe they're not all on the same DMS. Maybe they're all not using the same CRM. The offering here is we're able to consolidate all that regardless of DMS, CRM, HR tool, accounting, whatever it may be. We're able to kind of put it all in one place.
That's I'm sure there's a lot of groups out there that could use something like that.
Yeah, that's it's been I shouldn't laugh, but it has been funny, some of the calls that I've been on where kind of walking through the current reporting structure or how they go about generating reports. I'm sure you've seen plenty of manual reports, but some of these like Frankenstein, Google Sheets, like pulling in from different, which is, you know, tip of the hat. Like at least you're trying and you're tracking it. But in turn, there's the manual aspect, there's the time aspect.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, like I hate to say the commodity we're selling is time, but we're giving dealers back time because it takes away the manual aspect, it takes away the fat fingering, takes away chasing down whoever's building out your reporting. But yeah, more or less, some of these kind of Frankenstein Google Sheets have been uh, very inspirational. Where I'm like, okay, at least I know there's a need for it. We just have to find the right
Mm-hmm.
dealers who are open to testing it out and seeing the value that can be gained from having control of your data.
Well, the bigger one. So it is fun to laugh at the spreadsheets and all, and I think back to my dealer days when I was getting really crazy with it. But the one thing that I wasn't doing, and I'll just speak for myself here, was I wasn't looking at data over time. I was just reflecting on the prior month. And, I'd open up another spreadsheet if I want to go back and say, look at January and compare January, February, March, just to see how we stacked up against April. And that's where a solution like what you guys are doing would be quite helpful, is to keep that movement of data over time in my face, to help me understand how things are improving or regressing or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, and Jeff, you said this to me the other day, like doing that spreadsheet at the beginning of the new month to reflect on what just happened actually is sort of like a tangible way of getting intimate with your business. You have to explore every number because you're manually inputting it into something, and
Mm-hmm.
it helps for just being that much more involved with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
So,
that's always a big help.
I see that. What I always like to, I guess, rebuttal with there is it turns into instead of an autopsy you're doing end of month, we give you the ability to do kind of the health check on a daily, hourly, whatever it may be basis.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
see your point though of getting in the weeds and being able to look at each individual deal and look at each individual rooftop variable fixed and being able to identify trends over time is great, but having it
But that
tangible right in
also
front of you.
depends on what position you're at, especially if you're at a large dealer group. No one's going to have time to do that, especially
Mhm.
on a day-to-day basis. So having that data right there in front of you quickly, yeah, as much as I like how you put it, Alex, intimate, that intimate understanding of all the data, and because you're sort of touching it. But as you said, Alex, it's a huge time suck. What's some of the data that you guys have been able to put together and be able to show a dealership where they've been able to make some vast improvements?
Real quick, for Bill's comment, I saw his Frankenstein Google spreadsheet, and it was the nicest one I've seen so far. So I wasn't trying to hurt anyone's feelings.
that's to be expected from Bill.
From I guess actionable, tangible data set thus far here in the States. Given we're focused on CDK at the moment, CDK Drive, because what is it? It takes up 60% of the market share, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
With it, we haven't been able to obviously integrate yet, given for TELUS. But what we have done is we've taken dealers' current reports that they have built, and we just replicate them in the Targit solution
Yeah.
for them to see what it would look like. A good example would be, a dealer group we worked with, 15 rooftop dealership or dealer group, where the way their DMS was set up, they were trying to analyze fleet and wholesale sales. Based off of that, they couldn't match up customers. So say a customer shopped at a Chevy store, but then also shopped at the Ford store. They were coming in as two separate customers, and they were from a wholesale and fleet perspective, they were trying to analyze it as one customer. So more or less what we're able to do is kind of ingest that data, match it up based off of a singular customer compared to them coming in as two separate ones, shopping at two different stores. Obviously, that's a very niche example, but to that point, it's really once there's any form of analysis that's looking to be done, we're able to kind of pinpoint down to the data point.
Gotcha.
I see Ryan's question, and it dropped off. Oh, there it is. In regards to AI, it's
let's
product.
throw the question out there for people who are just listening. Does your platform offer functionality similar to Tableau's Einstein, their AI or machine learning, where it can surface recommendations, make predictions, and answer freeform questions?
I don't want to get in trouble with product, but I know we're working on some form of AI getting baked in regards to recommendations, trend analysis, things of that nature. Currently, obviously, there's exports of reports that get delivered. The ideal solution at the end of the day would be with that comes recommendations based off of that. So whether it's looking at tax or sales reps by different lead sources, we're able to, eventually that's the ideal goal there. And then I saw a second one came in.
I was giving an example. So if you're looking at, say, a salesperson's closing rate has dropped 50% this week over his monthly average, just being able to give that kind of insight as the month's progressing.
Yep. And to the second point for the automated notifications, we are able to set that up for, specific trends, whether it's, to his point, what is it, looking at closing ratio, or if you want to look at tech efficiency. Kind of circling back to what Alex had mentioned earlier of kind of that looking at the trend over time compared to a month by month basis. That's another one of my favorite data points to look at is kind of the tech efficiency over time. So is it something where is it peaks and valleys, or is it a consistent, are we getting better, or how does it look? It turns into, as I mentioned earlier, a training opportunity, if anything.
Yeah, that's always a good one. I was talking to the Nissan store the other day, and I had a salesperson there I was working with who had just started in January, and I didn't know. Like, I just said to the sales manager as he was introducing me, I said, "Oh, good, one who isn't tainted by the last 3 years."
Yeah. So yeah, does that actually sell you?
Yeah. So like these reports and watching trends and catching things in real time, almost real time, I guess, is so insanely valuable. In that you probably, like, if you had your business intelligence solution rolling all this time, you would have seen some pretty nutty things that transpired after the quarantine period of the pandemic into the different phases of consumerism that occurred afterward. So followed by what we're in now, a whole new kind of consumerism, in the salespeople's reaction to it all. So being able to see, is there a morale issue at the moment, for example? Are closing ratios dropping because the number of phone calls being made to internet leads significantly decreased? Because you've had 3 years of not needing to call any of these people.
Yeah,
There's
really.
the car. Are you going to buy it? Because this guy right behind you is waiting to do it. So, it would been crazy interesting to see all that.
Yeah, seriously. And I guess that's a data source that easily could be ingested, whether it's a call tracking or really anything of that nature. If you wanted to pull in GA4 data and match it up to specific campaigns, and so I think we'd probably have to wash that data regards to the quarantine.
Yeah.
Just it would skew everything, which we've seen in pretty much every other vertical.
Mm-hmm.
The pain point for me, and this is probably a little bit off topic, but I'd mentioned earlier that my old Wrangler had died, and I needed to get into something quick. So I found this old Compass or Cherokee. I don't even know. It's a piece of shit. Can I swear on here? I don't even know.
Yeah, you can.
It's so it's I went through the whole digital retailing tool aspect, and I won't name names, but it was a large group here in Tampa that wasn't Morgan Auto Group. And I go through the whole digital retailing aspect. I have my price, they do the hard pull, good to go. I can click here and I can go pick up my vehicle. Well, I figure, okay, I'll go in for a test drive, and I go in and it just goes back to the same old, everything's disconnected. Because then I go in and I get the sales guy who, oh, we don't have your lead, like you did it through the group site, not through our site. So then
Oh,
everything,
wow.
I'm like, I can click the button and walk away with the car, but I'm from Michigan and he grew up in like the same small town I went to school in. So I was like, shoot, I guess I'll sit here for 2 hours and do the song and dance just so it's
Oh, that sucks.
your commission. But yeah, it's just seeing things like that where there's so many different disconnects, whether it's on the marketing side or even to our point, data side. It's all just very painful to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, Chris Kelly. I would agree with you that people are getting a little more aggressive. They've been quite passive in their prospecting, but we're not there yet nationally. Still a little ways to go. Yep. Yeah. So, do you guys have anyone in the pipe in the United States once Fortellus is ready?
Yeah, that's well, it's kind of like asking. This is what I told my boss the other day. It's kind of like asking a girl on a date and then saying we can go on that date in 2 to 3 months, because like they're like, okay, let's do it. Let's move forward. Like, well, give me some time to work on myself. So it's kind of that scenario where there's the
Sounds
excitement
like a
and there's the
breakup before
want
you get
for it.
started.
Exactly. So I don't want to, count the chickens before they hatch. But yeah, there's been some interest, which has been positive to see.
So, as we're going to continue talking here, but if anybody is listening so far and is interested in a business intelligence tool, how could they reach out to you and say, hey, when you're ready, give me a call?
Yeah, LinkedIn, email. I can throw my email on the meeting invite on LinkedIn. Dealer refresh, whatever it may be.
That's the number one answer. Just go to dealer.
Yeah, there we go. Go to dealer refresh. Send me a DM. But yeah, even if it's something you're looking to do in house and you just want, that's kind of, I know Bill was on here. We just hopped on a call and shot the shit for a bit. But even if it's something you want to just throw around some ideas and see what we do and see if it's something you can replicate internally, more than happy to. It's, if anything, it gives us an opportunity to learn a bit more on how we can make our model a bit more US friendly, which that's the first couple of dealers are aware of that's kind of, we're working with them to build out the appropriate solution here for the States, given it varies a bit operationally compared to EMEA. But yeah, LinkedIn, dealer refresh, carrier pigeon, whatever works for you guys.
Yeah, the European model is more of a order the vehicle kind of model, right?
Yeah, and there's a couple other like weird quirks that I've heard, like
Like
if
what?
you servicing your vehicle, for example, like our head of operations over there, Wim, him and his dad Luke started Target Automotive. At the time, it was called Comco, but now it's Target Automotive. But he's given me a handful of examples where you'll like service your vehicle and you just can leave, and then they like track you down to get payment. Like I can't imagine
Oh.
a, a dealer being like, oh, come in for an oil change, and then you just I'll follow up with you. Like I just don't. Maybe that's just uh, America, but it just seemed very odd to me in regards to the business model of getting paid.
Yeah.
So
Well, we do have some services now. I know we engage with one that will send the customer the invoice via text, and they
okay,
just click on the link and they can pay. Sometimes they pay with Apple Pay. A couple different ways. Of course, you can scan your card and so forth. But it's pretty handy. That
Mhm.
way you don't have to have someone here. They can come pick up their car anytime if it's after hours. Uh, it's definitely a nice advantage. So I know that's not exactly what you're referring to, but it's definitely a workaround for that.
Well, we got another question from Ryan Everson. So he's wondering where the data is stored and could it be used with the CDP?
Yeah. So once we have it in a business warehouse here, it's accessible to kind of tie into a CDP. From a storage perspective, it would be stored in Virginia here in the States. In regards to the initial, I guess you could call it the initial ingestion and validation of the data, that would be in Germany. But then once complete, that's then housed here in Virginia. I
Okay.
have been told, realistically, if it's an issue to a US based dealer, we can obviously spin up some cloud space and keep it all here in the States. But from a peace of mind perspective, I think the data governance laws in EMEA are
Far more stringent. I'm speaking in for Alex Cardona here because he just froze.
yeah, I just froze as well.
Ah.
You're fine.
Were you saying, I was putting words in your mouth, assuming that you were saying in Europe the data laws were a little more stringent?
Yes, yeah. So if anything, it kind of covers us a bit more.
That's good.
Yeah, would the dealer have to comply to special things? It's just a question that popped in my head, like GDPR over there, for example, is not as enforced in the United States, if it is at all. Um, and I can't remember what that stands for, so apologies for
I
using
was going to ask you.
the letters. It's
I don't know what it stands for either. I know the meaning and the data laws behind it, but I'd have to ask Wim.
I isn't it it's a special way of informing the consumer that their data is being used for certain things. Um,
Oh,
I think. So
Yeah,
when you go to
more
a
or less.
website now and it's like accept all this crap, how do you want your cookies and all?
yeah.
Um, it's that kind of thing that started in Europe.
No, it's
I like
it's
my
killing me.
voice.
I gotta look up
Yeah, and then
general data
Ryan has got
protection
some more.
regulation.
What's that?
Sniff.
General data protection regulation. It
Okay.
was eating at me.
Well, that's easier to say than GDPR, but all right. Anyway,
Did you
Ryan was also asking about some other data components, and Ryan's pretty deep in the weeds with this stuff. Um,
Snowflake, BigQuery. I mean, I'll be honest. I can find you an answer, Ryan, but I'm the pretty face on the sales side in regards to the act. I wouldn't even say it's pretty. It's very average. But I'll find out and I'll get back to you.
did
he's a
you
good one to talk to about this stuff, by the way.
yeah, for sure. Did you have a dashboard or something that you want to show?
Yeah, let me pull something up real quick. You guys see my screen?
Sorta. There we go.
All
Can
right.
see that. Yep.
So this I'll preface it all with, this is demo data. This is all very customizable. As mentioned, it's similar to Power BI in a sense where you want to put your dealership's banner up top. Cool, we can do that. You want to change the way everything's laid out? Perfect, totally fine. The way it's going to be set up with the initial kind of out of the box solution would be, here we have it spliced overview, sales, service, parts, finance. When we say finance here, at the moment, this is accounting based, not F&I. The F&I module, once we're complete with the Fortellis integration, we'll add that in here. So another thing would be kind of overall data governance. So here from this overall business overview, this can be sales managers, general manager, dealer principal. You'd be able to see this, where breaks everything down. I mean, this just has year to date, but we can splice this however you want. Service, work orders in progress, number of entries, hours clocked. This is all very, high level, holistic outlook on things. We'll go into sales, for example. Oh, but I'm getting booted. Please hold. I'd let it sit for too long. It's always fun doing a live demo.
Oh yeah.
Things are bound to go wrong. Okay, so this would be kind of the sales overview. If you look at locations, this would be, think of as individual rooftops. Ford, Chevy, CDJR, Nissan. Everything here is drill down capable. So think of it as that holistic outlook all the way down to the granular level details. So here we're drilled on Houston. You can see the wholesale units, retail units. Click into the details and you can then see the location, make of the units moved, who actually sold them. Further down, you can see a bit more granular. This is just going to give vehicle sale price. Realistically, if you want to get into the weeds a bit further, you can look at the invoicing as a whole. Or it's going to give you a similar outlook. Just for example's sake, I'll drill down on Dominic, and we'll take a look at the units he sold. He sold 61 Ferraris this year. Well, that's impressive, very impressive, Dominic. Keep in mind, this is
Ferrari
all,
dealership sales.
yeah, this is all demo data. It's all jumbled up based off of one of our friendly EMEA partners who was comfortable with us utilizing some of this. But here you can obviously see each specific sale tied into gross margin, theoretical margin. The way they're analyzing that in EMEA would be, taking into account bonuses from the OEM with like dealer holdback, for example. Yeah, let me go into service and we can kind of dive into some of those examples I was talking about for efficiency and productivity. Similar to sales, obviously from an overview perspective, you can see all that here. For efficiency, this is where it gets a bit more fun. Alex, to your point, kind of looking at the trends over time. This is probably my favorite one to point out, is the efficiency as time goes on. So if you drill on a specific rep, and let's just use Sharon, not to pick on Sharon, but you can then see kind of the trend of her efficiency throughout the year. We can then look into the details even. And from here, you can see hours clocked, hours invoiced by specific RO. The beauty of this is you can identify scenarios like here. Warranty invoice, hours clocked 2.07, hours invoiced 0.89. Whether it turned into a coaching moment or maybe it needs to be assigned to another service tech, whatever it may be, having the data to be able to jump on things a bit quicker is obviously important, because whether it's giving Sharon more training or maybe assigning to someone else in the future based off of the specific warranty RO. I always find that nice to point out. Productivity, similar idea. where you can look at hours present versus hours clocked. We'll look at Patricia, where you can drill down, look at her details, and you can then see hours present, hours clocked. I also think it's neat that from a location by location perspective, you can do the same. So let's say, and as mentioned, New York, LA, Houston, think of these as dealerships. If we want to look at just New York, you can then see New York's productivity, and you can then compare it to all the other rooftops. Clocking yesterday is probably a fan favorite. And let me change the data range real quick. Let me see what pulls up here. And if not, this is going to give me a little trouble. Okay, here we go. So if you look at clocking yesterday, this is probably the most in regards to the fixed ops side of things, where it's consistently asked to be set up to be delivered on a daily basis. What we also do with some of our dealer partners in EMEA is we actually set up a dashboard that they put on a screen in their service bays, and everyone's able to see it. A little friendly competition never hurt. So being able to see, rep by rep, your efficiency, profitability, what you're actually doing on a day-to-day basis makes it a bit more fun environment, if I may say. Similar here, though, where you can drill down on granular level details, location by location. You click on a location, it's going to give you all those employees, hours clocked, hours present, things of that nature. Parts, we can get pretty far into the weeds here in regards to, and I'll apologize in advance, there's a bit of Dutch here, but essentially it's just accessories, tires, oil, things of that nature. But you can look at dead stock, dormant stock, living stock. Once we pull in, even if you have a separate inventory management tool outside of your DMS, if we ingest that data, we're able to obviously analyze store by store basis there. You can look at overall aging, over the counter sales. And then, last would be finance. Finance, and we can only make this so pretty, but so you want to look at receivables, payables, it's all in here. And this can be, as mentioned, very customizable. I know we have a couple people on the call that are more on the marketing side. It's, as mentioned, it's once we have the data, you can kind of build out what you want. I know we were briefly talking about CDPs earlier. By no means is this a CDP. It's not going to send out any marketing for you, but hypothetically, if you want to go in and build out specific lists, you're able to do so. I mean, this is a very vague example, but vehicles last maintenance longer than a year. And that will then obviously pull in everything. You can drill down by makes, set up whatever filters you want in there. But yeah, really at a core.
I was going to say, it'd be great if you're a group and you've got an in-house marketing team.
Yeah, so that's been some of the conversations we've had with marketing directors. They're like, well, this doesn't really apply to what we're trying to accomplish on the marketing front, which is it's totally understandable. When you look at it on a lane by lane basis, it's not a one shoe fits all kind of scenario. It's more of a holistic and granular operational level tool that can be used for your little side quests if you want, on the marketing front or service or sales, where you want to build out specific reports, you're able to do so.
Looks robust.
Yeah, it can get as robust as you want, or you can really just use what's already in there. Typically what we do at the start, at least in EMEA, and we're going to replicate it here in the States, is that initial launch phase is where we go through what you guys currently do. We look at current reports that are important to you, and we replicate those within the Targit solution.
Wow.
Well, John Singa is curious about your inventory analysis reporting.
Let me pull it back up. It's I don't know if I didn't even click share. That's always
Yeah, it
helpful.
helps.
There.
Alrighty. So here we can, obviously it's going to be based off of DMS data. So given what's in there, we're going to consider that a source of truth, and unless we're basing it off of an inventory management, like a separate inventory management tool, if it's a singular rooftop or another type of scenario that you have set up. But we can kind of pinpoint however you want. Here we have the locations, we have overall volume, inventory value, average days of inventory. You can drill down on, this isn't very realistic, but let's say we have these 19 units that have been there greater than a year. You can see those specific units, where they're at, overall cost of those vehicles, average days. You can drill down on those vehicles and actually see them. So yeah, once we have the data in here, say hypothetically you wanted to add other other columns, we're able to do so. If there's other data points that are of importance to you. And I think that was the question.
I was going to ask, are you working with any service schedulers? And if so, how would you grab that data and apply it to this?
From a service scheduler perspective.
Oh, we lost him.
Yep. He's coming back.
There he is.
I went to stop sharing my screen and I hung up on you guys.
That's all right.
Service schedulers, I would say no. If you think like X time or something of that nature, where there's an API we can pull in clocking or anything associated with that. But yeah, if there's the data set, we'd be able to ingest it. It's just understanding the data points that would be of importance.
Yeah. Dude, this is I've seen some big wrap up. I was pretty extensive user of the driven data piece, and I see some similarities, not the UI of course, but being able to just really drill down and see a lot of different information, take that data and different ways to execute upon it. So it's robust. A single point dealership, you could be all over this, but man, if you're a group, I can't imagine not having something like this.
Yeah. That's the kind of the quest I'm on at the moment is kind of educating dealers, or at least getting them to hear us out. So if anyone wants to chat,
challenge is that? Is that fun?
Oh, it's a blast. It's no, I said it at, I don't even know if we're on air yet, but my grandpa, he was a auto auction guy. My dad, he wholesale operations for suburb. Like, it's a very vague, but for the most part, everyone's cut from the same cloth. Similar personalities are going to run into in the automotive industry. So a lot of times I feel like the guys I'm talking to are like my dad's buddies. So it makes someone hanging up on you a bit more fun and tolerable. But there's also, I kid, there's been a lot of good conversations. So
I'm sure.
If anyone's looking to chat more, feel free to shoot me a message or an email and we can set something up.
Cool. Awesome, man.
You can find Alex, well, both of us, obviously, on Dealer Refresh. So head on over.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll get your contact information published over in the forums as well. You're outside, and of course, people can send you a DM through Refresh Forums. So
sounds good.
All right, Alex, definitely appreciate it.
The time. Yeah,
You
have a
got
good
it.
weekend.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.